What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to the Charge to the Top. And today, it's episode 34. It's a massive episode for us. It's a triple header. Yes, triple, I said it. Oh, baby. You guys are in for a treat. Let's get into this. Since the last episode, 2 games to get through just real quick. The first of which was against Dover. As you can see, a 3-0 win, a crucial clean sheet, a good away win. Stephen Payne with 2, Shimanga with 1, and Christian Squire getting sent off definitely helped us in that game as we did. As you can see, we're out victors. Following that, for a second game in a row, another 3-goal win, or 3 goals scored, not 3-goal win. We conceded 2 in this game. Defensively, questions to be asked of us perhaps off the back of this. It was a comfortable game. You can see 2 goals in the same minute. That does not happen very often. It did in this game here. Shimanga and Stephen Payne getting them again, really bailing us out. And well, with not a whole lot of injuries to worry about, with the team performing well, I've really got my settled starting 11 playing the same team that have played, you know, the past few live commed episodes as well. And, well, they did the goods against Woking here. As you may have noticed right at the start, we have actually topped the table now with the results that you've just seen. And Barrow lie in second. They, however, are only 2 points behind us. They actually slipped up against Aldershot, a team who, I don't know, I feel like you associate Aldershot with being a Football League team. Maybe I'm living in the past a little bit here, because you can see here, for the last few years, they have struggled. 2 years ago, they finished second in the league, to be fair. This year, if we just take a quick look, they're not at the top of the table. They're down in 21st. So for them to get a result against Barrow was absolutely fantastic for us. And it means that going into today's live-com triple header, there's plenty to look forward to. So as you can see here, we do have Hartlepool, who are currently in 9th. We then take on Aldershot, who, as we've already seen, can be a bit of a banana peel of a team, and are definitely going to be looking to try and kind of trip us up a little bit. And then we have Chester to round off today's episode. Now, the reason I'm doing 3 matches and not the final game is because I don't know how long this is going to last in terms of this end of season. You know, we could win 2 games, Barrow lose 2, and the title's ours with 2 games to spare. So this episode, we're going to do the 3 matches. Depending on how things stand, if it goes to the final day, Morecambe will then come next episode. I don't want to kind of commit to doing too many. And the other issue is if I was to sit here and tell you I'm going to do till we win the league or, you know, everything's wrapped up, you could just tell by the length of the video how things have gone. You know, if I say, oh, I'm going to play until we win the league, and then it's only a 10-minute long video, it's safe to assume that, you know, the first 2 games will win. So we're going to do 3 today, and then Morecambe, if we need to do it, big if, you know, I'm hoping we can get the job done here, and, you know, Barrow can slip up a little bit. That'll be coming tomorrow, along with either an end-of-season review, or, well, we'll be going into the playoffs. And I really don't like playoffs in football, just as a whole. You know, I feel like I have bad luck in playoffs. In real life, I've been to 4 playoff finals for various teams. I've been to see Lincoln twice in playoff finals. I've been to see Norwich twice in playoff finals back in, I think it was 2003 against Birmingham. And then a few years ago, obviously, when they beat Middlesbrough at Wembley. That Wembley game, the only time I've ever witnessed the team I went to support win a playoff final. So 1 out of 4. I mean, it's slightly better in FM, perhaps, my record, but I feel like I'm a curse when it comes to playoff finals. You know, if your team ever go to a playoff final, just tell me not to turn up at the game. Please let me know. Anyway, let's get into the first game of today's episode. As I've already said, it's going to be a big one. We're taking on Hartlepool. They're predicted to play a 5 at the back system. We, on the other hand, we're going to be predictable because, well, I look across our team here, it's a team of players performing well. You know, a few players playing slightly out of position. But when you look at the kind of form in the last 5 games, you can really see we are shining. Shimanga and Stephen Payne, they are banging in goals for us. Without those 2 men, we would be struggling this year. Stephen Payne, 26 goals in 34 games. I mean, that's not too bad, is it, for a player who joined us on a free last year? And the other player, of course, Shimanga, who joined us halfway through this season. A very good player indeed. 23 years old. He's a good player. You know, plenty of potential. Joined us again on a free transfer. And he really has proven his worth for us here. Obviously, he's taken a big step down. A few years ago, he was on loan from Chelmsford in this division. And he just didn't make it shine. And, well, here for us, it's been a different story. You know, 23 years old, a little bit more mature, perhaps. I'm hoping he can give a good performance again today. We're going to submit our team. It's going to be Ricky Holmes and Harry Anderson on either wing. The defence, standard, Griffiths, Kevin Owens, Harry Lennon, Mizag and Scott Wiseman. Centre midfield, we go with Christy Davis alongside Musino. And, well, I've already talked about the rest of the players. I feel like the team is fairly familiar at this point. Anyway, looking at their team, playing a few players with injuries. That's a little bit risky, isn't it? He's got a gash leg, 74 physical condition for Brad Walker. Kind of odd that they're playing him, to be honest. I would never play a player, I don't think, from the start with anything less than perhaps 85 condition, unless it was an absolutely kind of key player for us and the game was the be-all or end-all. And even then, I feel like you'd only really be expecting that player to last half a match. So Hartlepool, they're kind of rolling the dice. I just want to check, really, a quick kind of Hartlepool. Looking at here, their condition isn't too bad as a whole. It's weird that they're playing Walker. I guess he is just one of their best players by quite a margin. A 23-year-old centre midfielder. In fact, he's an absolutely incredible player, if I'm being completely honest. So perhaps I can understand why they'd play him. But at the same time, I'm surprised. I mean, I guess they're in 9th. You know, Hartlepool, they are looking at that outside playoff push. But, well, we're going to be looking to crush those hopes here. Ball in. And Shimanga and Payne, it's the dream start. It's the dream duo. It's Stephen Payne's 27th goal of the season. And, well, debatably, if you were to look at the league table, you'd put this down as the toughest of the fixtures coming in today's episode. It's not a bad way to start it, is it? 1-0 up. Loving that. Loading the highlights. Let's take a look at this goal again. It was Shimanga, the guy who, of course, he's a centre attacking mid on attack, but he does like to drift into these wide areas. And, well, with a tackle coming in, he still manages to find the ball into the box. And Stephen Payne doesn't even leap for it. It's just a calm, composed header into the back of the net. 1-0 up, 3 minutes gone. We are, of course, at home for today's game. And our home form has been superb this season. I think that's the only adjective that can be used to describe it. It's been very, very good. And, well, I'm looking for us to continue that today. And, well, you'd have to say, looking at the opening kind of 15 or so minutes of this game, we very much are on top here. We are playing well, we are playing confidently, and hopefully we can just kind of maintain this at this point because there's still quite a long time left in this game. You know, 25 minutes gone now. It looks, I don't know, relatively comfortable. You know, Hartlepool yet to have a shot. If we can get another goal before half-time, I feel like that would be ideal. We'll have to see how we get on here, though. 35 minutes gone. Hartlepool, they've had a few chances now, including a half chance. We are going to have to be wary in this game. You know, until we're 2 goals up, I'm not going to relax. And even at 2 goals up, you still can't really afford to relax. But it would at least put me at rest that one mistake might not cost us as well. Stephen Payne, that might be a mistake that costs us a real opportunity. A second clear-cut chance of the game for us. To be fair to him, the angle wasn't ideal. He perhaps had a better time, more time than he expected to get a better angle. But, well, we're not going to rest on our laurels here. We have a chance. Shimanga has missed an open goal. Stephen Payne, can he get the ball back into the mixer? He can't. The keeper comes out and kind of spills it. Shimanga, open goal, manages to hit the woodwork. Again, I said it. I feel like I've cursed it. You know, I said hopefully we're not ruining a few mistakes whilst we are 1 goal to the good and kind of not taking chances while we're on top. Shimanga, well, it's a lovely goal by him. It could be 3-0 at this point. It probably should be as well. It's his 28th goal of the season. Him and Stephen Payne, they're kind of having their own little goal-scoring competition to see who can get the most. Worth noting in the top right there, Barrow are winning against Solihull Moors 2-0. So that is fairly big, I guess, as far as the title is concerned. You know, the fact Barrow are winning and we're winning. And if things stay as they are, of course, we are going to maintain our spot at the top of the table. But, well, it's not going to be, you know, by a comfortable margin. You can see here, we are on the same amount of games played. We would be 2 points clear if the results stay as they are right now. Well, I'm hoping we can get another one before half-time. Shimanga, options on ahead, holds it up well. Ricky Holmes, unfortunately, can't quite get there. Muzag gets the header in, unfortunately. It's tackled away, but the ball over the top, we could be in trouble here. Peacock through, he's got some pace. Griffiths, a lovely stop by that man in goal. It's also worth noting, I didn't really talk about this, but it is a very much a 2-horse race at this point for the title. Ourselves and Barrow have really emerged as the 2 big forces in this league. You know, you look at players like teams like Billericay, Fyle, Dulwich Hamlet, even Lincoln to an extent. There are all teams who we've played against and had reasonable success against, and well, we're having some reasonable success here. It's 2-0 up against Hartlepool. It's been a game full of opportunities. You'd have to say, you know, Hartlepool have perhaps looked like it's... well, I was about to say that it looks perhaps like they might have been able to hit us on the break. You know, they've had that one clear-cut chance, that one half chance. And I said it earlier, and I'll emphasise it, 2 goals up. It looks comfortable, but it can be very deceiving, this kind of scoreline. You know, it takes one little slip. You only got the 1-goal lead left to hold on to. And your team start to question themselves. But, well, we're going to be looking to put this game beyond doubt, and we probably are there. Stephen Payne, he scored almost 2 minutes into the first game. He scored within 2 minutes of the second half as well. And, well, Hartlepool, whatever their manager said to them at half-time, it's not really worked for them. And it's worth noting, actually, Barrow do have better goal difference than us. So if we can score as many as we can and defend well here, that could be crucial come the end of the season, because with the 2-point cushion, of course, there's always the possibility that we draw a game and Barrow win one. And, well, it could well be decided on goal difference. So we can't really afford to take our foot off the pedal here. We need to keep our foot on the gas, but also defend well here, as Morris is going to play it to Laurent. Musino, nice win by him. Stephen Payne, disappointing first touch. He's going to be looking for his hat-trick, of course, now, the number 10. But, well, with touches like that, he's going to struggle in this game as, well, Hartlepool actually having a bit of sustained possession. It does now find its way to Harry Lennon, though, and now Stephen Payne applying the pressure. Uze lays it back to Crowley. Nice pressure by Payne just to, force the play back. We are able to reform defensively, and, well, we're going to be looking to hit them here. Stephen Payne, Shamanga marauding on ahead. Ricky Holmes looking inside. Can he find an option? Maybe a long-range effort on the cards. It is. Crowley does hold on to it there, though. And, well, he's been beaten 3 times. You'd have to say that not quite from that range with any of them, but it was a nice effort by Ricky Holmes. He's got 1 assist to his name, Ricky. He's performing well, and, well, it's worth noting, we're only 5 minutes into the second half, and, well, Ricky Holmes, I said he's been playing well. He has an assist. Now he has a goal as well. It's 4-0 here, and you'd have to say, Hartlepool, for a team who are going to be looking for that late playoff push, this game and this result would extinguish their hopes. They'd be 6 points behind with 3 games left. That would be a very tall order for even ourselves to try and overcome that kind of margin in where you are relying certainly on teams above you to slip up. But, well, I think Barrow would have been relying on us to slip up here, and we haven't. 4-0, we are in cruise control. Shaman got on an 8.7, Ricky Holmes 8.4. The left winger, of course, a player who joined us in January on a free transfer, kind of came in. I wasn't sure how much he'd play for us. He has really established himself in that left midfielder position. And, well, to be honest, in recent kind of weeks and months, it's been his longest run as our starting left midfielder. And, well, with performances like the one today, there's not many kind of surprises as to why that's the case. I'm going to make a few changes. I'm going to take off Musino for Ollie Banks. I'm actually going to bring on Danny Smith as well for Christy Davis. I just want to make sure Musino and Christy Davis's legs remain fresh. I'm aware, actually, that we do have a few players who are on 4 or 9 yellow cards. They're 1 yellow card away from a domestic ban. I wish I'd taken note of which players those were, because I probably should be taking them off. I have a weird feeling that Musino or Christy Davis is one of those players. I know defensively we do have that problem as well. So I'm going to make one last change here. I'm actually going to take off Harry Lennon. He's had a fantastic game. We're going to bring in Rafael Branco, of course, a player who last year really made a name for himself as our starting centre-back. And this year, we have strengthened significantly defensively, you'd have to say. And unfortunately, he's been one of the casualties. But he's waiting in the wings for opportunities like this. It's worth noting that Mizag has just got a yellow card. So maybe I've taken off the wrong centre-back there after all of that. It was a 50-50 decision of which centre-back to take off, risking a booking. And well, I picked wrong, I think it's fair to say. But I mean, that's only a minor kind of mark against our name in this game in terms of a negative to take from this match, because it's been outstanding by us. We're going to finish here 4-0. We've created a lot of opportunities. Peacock, don't score now. I want the clean sheet. Thank you, Lino. He raises his flag. That will be all she wrote for this game. 4-0 it finishes here at Edgar Street. A great home win, something that's become very characteristic of our team. But unfortunately for us, Barrow also winning. And as you can see here, they won 2-0. The goal difference, it's getting tight. We've scored more goals. We are 3 goals behind them with 3 games remaining. And it's perhaps worth noting, the next game against Aldershot for us, not far away at all. And as a result, I'm going to send all our players immediately on a rest for 2 days. I want them to recoup for that Aldershot game. That's going to be on the Monday. I'm just curious to see, are Barrow playing on the Monday as well, or do they play a different time? They are playing on the Monday. And as you can see here, the next game that we have preceding that, the 3rd game of today's episode, is on the Saturday. So it is back to kind of a fairly packed fixture schedule. Worth noting, that game that we just played against Hartlepool was on a Friday night. So no game over the actual weekend itself, this kind of game week. Instead, we've got the Monday and the Saturday games to kind of look forward to here. Now, one thing that I have seen a few comments about is, Jack, what happened in your regen window? Like, did you get any good players in this year? I didn't actually. I didn't really look for that many players. But what I did do, or what I didn't do, was I didn't get any good players in our youth team either. You know, with me, I've got to be honest with you, I've never had good luck with regens in my saves that generate at the club. The best player we have, actually, Liam Potts here. He's 17. He only, I think, genned for us, actually, this season. He's okay, but he's not great. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like come kind of June, May time, if we can take a similar approach to we did kind of last season in terms of looking for players released by Premier League clubs, we're going to find infinitely better talent than what we're generating at our own team right now. Of course, we have got the improvements to the training and youth facilities to come over the next few years, so that will help us, I guess, long term when it comes to improving our youth recruitment and kind of youth development as a whole. But, well, I didn't really talk about it much, but obviously we sold the likes of Vincent Day and Roach this season, and another player actually to add to that list who I feel like I should have covered it in an earlier episode, but I probably didn't, is actually we've got another departure of a similar nature, and actually it's another player going to Rotherham. So we'll take a look at that real quick, but that is some more money in the bank. And one thing I am seriously weighing up is, much like last year, just hoovering up some Premier League talent that gets released, or Championship talent, players who excite me. I guess the division, it doesn't really matter that much. But I feel like if we can sell players on for money, then we've got to try and do it. You know, it's a great way to make some cash. And a good example here is Peter Phillips. 19 years old, was released by Chelsea. We picked him up on a free transfer. And, well, a familiar team, Rotherham, they've come in with a £300,000 bid. And the thing to note about Rotherham is, if we just look at them here, you can see they are in the Championship. They are, where are they? Where are you, Rotherham? They're mid-table in the Championship. They're actually not doing too bad by Rotherham standards in Football Manager. But obviously they've signing Peter Phillips off us for £300,000. But if you actually look at the other players they've brought in this guy, Carnu, from Aldershot in our division. And of course they bought another player from us already, and that was Philip Vincent Day for £250,000. So it's kind of interesting and perhaps worth noting, Rotherham seem to like hoovering up players in this division and signing them, which kind of suits us. I feel like Peter Phillips, you know, £300,000, it's very good money. I brought this guy in thinking, if he develops, great. If he doesn't, it'll be okay. I actually looked to loan him out kind of when I quickly realised he perhaps wasn't going to be good enough for the first team. The fact of the matter is, if we look at his coach report, injury prone, poor consistency. You know, he's got potential to be a League Two striker, but I mean, £300,000. You can't say no to that kind of money as a team in our situation. Rotherham, I'm not sure who the Rotherham manager is actually. I'm kind of curious to check because he likes our players for whatever reason. I'm not going to complain. If we just look here at their managers, they've actually got Nigel Atkins in at the moment. You can see he's actually been there since 2017, so a good kind of little while really, ever since Kenny Jackett left. But anyway, Aldershot, the next game, of course, they had a player signed by Rotherham. I feel like we've gone on a little bit of a tangent there, but just to kind of, I guess, fill you in on more of what goes on behind the scenes. It's always a tricky balance, I find, with my videos. Some people go, Jack, you talk too much, you ramble too much, I want more matches, and I kind of get that. But with Football Manager, I'd say 50% of the game is won and lost off your actions off the pitch, and I feel like whilst it's impossible for me to sit down and, you know, talk live for 16 hours over an entire season, just because it wouldn't be that convenient, and I like playing Football Manager whilst watching real football in the background, I feel like it's important that I do fill you in on kind of what's going on behind the scenes. You know, with an episode like this, obviously I'm just talking 100% live now, and I kind of like that. But I know that for the people who just want matches, again, this isn't really the ideal solution. And on the flip side, for the people who want all the nitty-gritty detail, again, it's not quite there. I feel like it's impossible to cater to both sets of people. I like to try and kind of spark a happy balance in a way that kind of fill you in with what's going on behind the scenes and give you all the necessary info, as well as, you know, the nitty-gritty details, the things which I do deem important to kind of inform you guys of. But at the same time, I want to make my videos in a way where if someone wants to skip to the matches, even though I don't really want them to do that and I don't really get that as a concept, they're more than welcome to do that, of course. And of course, you may have noticed in recent episodes, there's been a lot more matches. I'd be interested to know, do you want to see more of these matches? Are you wanting to see more progress between episodes? Because, I don't know, I feel like FM content as a whole has evolved on YouTube, and whilst I've not really ever changed my format, the expectations of newer people coming in who have seen other YouTubers is perhaps slightly different in terms of what they want from my content and what they expect for it and what they prefer. So let me know down in the comments, you know, what kind of videos do you like? Long and rambly? Do you like matches only? I don't get that if you do. Or do you like the current format? Does it work for you? I feel like I've built my channel up and my subscriber base up based off kind of this format, and it's kind of what I do best in a lot of ways. But anyway, let's get into today's game. I'm not changing the team again. It's going to be the 4-2-3-1. This is very much a settled starting 11. Worth noting that, actually, I just noticed it there. Shimanga, he's actually pretty good at playing attacking centre mid now. He's been playing it a fair bit in the second half of the season, and finally he's accomplished in the role. So we are taking on Aldershot. We already saw earlier that they did cause Barrow a few troubles, so I've got to be wary of that. You know, we have to get a good result here. It's not going to be easy, but we are at home. Aldershot are struggling, but I don't want to take this game for granted. We really can't afford to underestimate any teams in this game and in this league, because we've experienced it a little bit ourselves, and it's a bit of a cliche within football if we're being 100% honest. But upsets happen, and anyone can beat anyone on any given day. Anyway, we are actually the team on the attack here. You know, another early goal like last game. That's what we're looking for here. Home, Shamanga, can he finish it? He can't. Cole holds on to it. I feel like my screen's getting a little bit cluttered here. Let's just shrink everything. Let's do that. Well, meanwhile, while Jack sorts out all the panels, there is a football match going on, but he's not paying attention to that. He's too busy trying to make the information kind of look nice the way it's displayed. So, really, looking at the table now, Barrow, the only team we need to worry about. They are taking on Torquay at home. Torquay actually struggling a little bit. They're in 20th, so I don't necessarily expect them to slip up in this game, but at the same time, we're hoping for the best, I guess you could say. So, league table, fixtures, stats. I don't think there's anything we're missing. I guess after 18 minutes, the only thing we're missing, really, is a goal. A little bit of action would be nice, wouldn't it? Because right now, it's been a little bit tame. You know, at this point in the last match, we had a goal, we had some excitement, there were plenty of chances for both teams, really. This game, it's been a little bit more kind of controlled by us. 56% of possession. In terms of the shots, Aldershot yet to have one on target. But, well, it's not shots on target that matter, it's goals. And, well, we're just less than 10 minutes left in this first half. We're yet to break the deadlock despite our dominance. Actually, Aldershot having a little bit of a late resurgence here. They are really trying to push us in this game. Looking elsewhere, you can see Barrow still 0-0 against Torquay. Torquay, please hold in there for us. Keep holding them to a draw, because, well, we're not looking like we're going to win. Based off that first half, I'm going to tell the players I'm not happy with their performance. I'm looking to get them fired up. I want a good performance. Christy Davis on a booking. I'm not even going to risk it. I'm actually going to bring in Danny Smith, a player who he's played 18 times this season and 9 times off the bench. A very talented young player. A very talented player actually as a deep line playmaker. You can see this is the role he's going to be playing. Fairly well suited to it. He's only 19. He's got good consistency. Very good player. You can see he's got potential to be a League 2 player in the future. And, well, he's been at the club a little while now. Last year, he was, of course, out on loan. This year, he's had a bit of an impact in the first team. And, well, let's hope that he can have a similar impact in today's game. We're bringing him on for Christy Davis. Scott Wiseman, the only other player on a booking for our team, the right back. Perhaps worth just keeping an eye on that. We have, as you guys all know who have been watching the series, we've had a problem with red cards over the years. I'm hoping that we can just calm down a little bit, you know, relax into this game, be well disciplined. Scott Wiseman, you know, he has the captain's armband on him. He's a 34-year-old with bags of experience, a mature head. He will have been in this situation before, in this kind of hard-fought game, where we are in need of a goal, where we are in need of a win, and he is on a booking and he's got to manage himself just a little bit, be smart with his tackles, but I have faith in him to do that for us. But anyway, 55 minutes gone here, 10 minutes into the second half. You'd have to say not a lot's changed. Fortunately for us in that Barrow match, not a lot's going on there either. It's still 0-0. And, well, with half an hour left, I've probably got to look to change things up here. The truth be told, however, we haven't got a whole lot of options. We have got options, don't get me wrong. We've got players like Willock, Alex Fisher, but we've not really had to rely on these options too much. I'm going to make one change in here. I'm actually going to bring in Willock to play out on the wing. He's a very talented player, this guy, 20 years old, released by Arsenal. A player who in previous football managers, I'm going to be honest, I've seen turn into a very good player. Unfortunately for us, he's not been that great and he hasn't played perhaps enough football to truly develop for us. But he's got an opportunity here to make himself a bit of a name, as he will be playing out on the right-hand side for us. And while we're half an hour left, we need an impact from him. I'm actually going to do a touchline team talk, something that, I'm going to be honest, I don't do enough in Football Manager. I'm going to demand more from the players. I want to get angry. I want to get mean. I want to get aggressive. We need a goal here. Barrow v Torquay, still 0-0. So that's kind of interesting and plays in our favour. But we're not looking great, are we? Where do I want to make that last change? You know what? I'm going to bring on Alex Fisher for Stephen Payne. Stephen Payne, bit of a bad day at the office for him. 7 goals in his last 5 games. You'd expect him to get another one today. He hasn't quite delivered. We're going to bring in Alex Fisher, a very good player, a player who's not had that many opportunities. 1 goal from just 8 appearances, however, perhaps explains that lack of opportunities. But the 29-year-old, a good player for us, joined us from Oxford kind of in the summer. As a backup forward, I guess, with the likes of Shimanga and Payne, he's not really had that many opportunities. And a little bit like Ote, he's just not warranted a chance to play more because he hasn't been scoring. But with 10 minutes left, he is going to have a chance to make a name for himself as well. It's worth noting here, Aldershot with possession, potentially on the attack. In the second half, we have not been as good. And while Scott Wiseman, I bigged him up. I said he's a wise head on old shoulders. The shoulders, his head's fallen off. It's fallen off. He's got a red card. Aldershot. Oh, this is not good. This is really not good because I don't actually have a right back. Oh dear. I'm thinking that we play 5 at the back. I'm thinking that we play 5 at the back or something like this. Maybe Mizag can't really play right back. Harry Lennon, can you play right back? No. Messino, kind of. I think Messino's probably our best bet actually. I'm trying to work out what the best way to go about sorting this out is. I think it's going to be something like this. We play that. It's a little bit of a mess, isn't it? If we're being completely honest. But I feel like this is perhaps what we've got to go for here. I still want to play on the attack, but we're going to have to play more direct. There's a lot more gaps in our team now all of a sudden. Let's try and exploit the middle if we can. I'm tempted to play Holmes and Shimanga like that actually down the middle. Kind of go with an old school Brazil feel to the whole team. Kind of playing a 4-2-2-2 except, well, we only have 1 striker. So it's not a 4-4-2-2 at all. I've lied, but I feel like the point still stands. Right, this is what we're going to go with. It's a bit of a roll of the dice, but we need a goal. We need a win. Fortunately for us, as I've already said, Barrow still 0-0 against Torquay, so that kind of works for us. But we have a set piece to defend here, and Musino now commits the foul. We've gone it into meltdown. They have a penalty. Harry Lennon's been booked as well in all of this. And, well, we're looking at you, Griffiths, to make a big stop. Can the goalkeeper become big? The number 15, the blue man between the sticks. Is it Papa Smurf? No, it's Griffiths. Can he stop Bellamy? He does stop Bellamy. What a stop by the goalkeeper. It's a missed penalty by Liam Bellamy. And, well, that, my friends, might just help us to a title. Because with 5 minutes left, it's still 0-0 in the Barrow v Torquay game. We're going to stay on the front foot. We're going to keep going for the attack. It's a massive, massive stop by Griffiths. Barrow still 0-0 with just a few minutes left. We don't look like scoring, but there might be a late sting in the tail here. Harry Lennon picks it up. Holmes. Can we go up the other end now? Why not? Willock, Shimanga. Fisher's not scored for us in a while. Shimanga gets dispossessed. I thought he was going to get the ball in the middle. They're on the attack again. Can we deal with this? Owens, nice header, but straight to Reynolds. Willock's gone in for a tackle there. Surely he can't be getting sent off as well. That can't be the case, can it? It was a flying-in tackle by the youngster. An eager tackle. We now need to shape up for this. Where's the defending on this set piece? Get man tight. Bellamy from range. He's going to want some revenge. He lays it to Gallagher. Reynolds is through. Oh, the heartbreak. The heartbreak with 3 minutes left. Maybe I should have gone more defensive, but I didn't. I put faith in our system. And, well, Barrow drawing is still an okay result for us because we still stay top of the table, but they do close the gap to 1 point. But Aldershot, they did 1 over previously on Barrow, and now they've done 1 over on us as well. Reynolds, near post, smashes it into the roof of the net. Lovely goal by him. And that's just, it's annoying, isn't it? It's frustrating. 2 minutes left in this game. Barrow just don't score. You know, a draw in that game. Oh, they've scored in the 91st minute as well. Barrow go top of the table. My head is in my hands. I don't really know how to feel here. Oh no, they go top of the table by 1 point. And suddenly we could be surrendering our kind of own control of our own fate here because Wiseman's been sent off. Unless we can get such a late goal here, it's gonna be a big game for us next time out. Barrow win against Torquay. We're 1-0 down here against Aldershot. It's full time. We have a fantastic home record. Russell Griffith stopping a penalty. Unfortunately for us, though, we lose the game 1-0, and you'd have to say the sending off hurt us. The fact that Barrow scoring the 91st minute really is a kick in the gonads. And now going into the game against Chester, I don't know, we've got a mission to do. I want to call this the Chester mission now that we're going into, but old school Football Manager viewing fans will know there's a very good series done by Merkers and Predicts with Chester that was called the Chester Mission. Am I allowed to steal that? Can I call this the Chester Mission? Oh dear. Scott Wiseman gets sent off. You know what that means? That means that Kane Smith, our former captain, welcome back to the first team, my friend. You are in for a treat. He's played 9 games for us this season. He's back in the team today. In terms of the team of the week, Messino and Griffiths get in it. Very funny that Messino gets in the defence, despite the fact he started in midfield and had to go back to defence after the red card to Wiseman. But, well, we take on Chester now. We're second in the table, as I said. We've surrendered fate, our fate, our control of it, at least, in this game. And we go into the game against Chester away from home, needing a win. Anything else, and it's just not going to be good enough for us. Chester, they're a good side. A very good side indeed, and it's going to be a mighty, massive task for us to take on Chester and actually get the result that we need here. They're 14th, and, you know, going into this game, even if we'd drawn last game, I would have been happy. You know, I would have said, yes, going into this game, I'm still confident that we can do a job. I feel like it's massive now for our team, actually, that they don't start to question themselves after that defeat to Aldershot. We need to remain positive. We need to keep playing the way that we're playing. But, well, a 1-0 defeat, very uncharacteristic, you know, for us not to score. Something that we've had no trouble with throughout this season. And going into this game against Chester now, I mean, there's going to be massive, massive pressure on us to try and make something happen here. We've obviously got the issue now that Wiseman is suspended for 1 game, so he's not available for this game, so Kane Smith comes in. With the exception of him, I feel like I've got to play the same 11 again for 2 reasons. Firstly, none of the backup players and none of our reserve players or subs actually have any match fitness right now. And I guess the main reason being is that, with the exception of that blip last game, we've been unbeaten for so long this season. You know, we've taken on big teams like Billericay, we beat Barrow, we beat Fylde, we've had massive, massive results. And it just feels like to lose it to that game to Aldershot like that's inexcusable. It's bottling it. That's the only way I can put it. We bottled it that last game. I feel like I can't even use the sending off as an excuse, really, because we were never winning the game. We didn't even score. Anyway, looking at it here, a 10-man shortlist for the Vanarama Player of the Season has been announced, and Stephen Payne and Shimanga both up for it. We can't actually vote for our own players, and as a result, I tend to be a little bit salty and never actually vote in the Vanarama kind of Player of the Season voting, because I want my own players to win, and I feel like if I was to vote for other players, it'd be a little bit backstabby, I feel like, against Payne and Shimanga, despite the fact that, in my opinion, both of them are the 2 best players in the league when it comes to form. Totally, of course, no bias involved there. But anyway, going into this game against Chester, I mean, anything less than a win could see us, basically lose the title. We wouldn't be able to win it against Barrow. They are 1 point ahead of us. Their goal difference is 5 goals better. In terms of our team for today's game, Kane Smith comes in. I'm trying to think of, do I want to change any other players? And I don't think I do. I feel like I might bring Ote onto the bench for Fisher, and I might bring in Keenan Bennett for Willock, just because Willock didn't really inspire me that much when he came on off the bench. And I feel like the likes of Keenan Bennett and Ote, you know, this could be a night against Chester where we need magic. And I feel like Bennett and Ote, they're magical players. They're players that can step up. Looking at this, they're going to be playing a 4-4-2 as well. That's the system that we lost to last time out. We are going to stick, of course, with the 4-2-3-1, a system now that we've been playing for more than half the season. The players have really adapted to it well. It's started to work very nicely in our favour. We've definitely got the players to play this system now, particularly with Shimanga kind of evolving to play kind of off Payne as part of I want to say untraditional, but unconventional strike partnership, you know. I brought in those 2 players, Payne and Shimanga, and I thought they'd play up top alongside each other in a 4-4-2. As things have kind of transpired, as we know, anything but a 4-4-2, our current system, and, well, we need a good result here. Chester whipping it in Griffiths. He collects it well. That's a confidence-building save. In terms of where are Barrow? Where are you? Right at the bottom. They're taking on York. I have a feeling that every time a team scores, it scrolls down, so I've got to remember to repeatedly check that result there. Away from home against York. York, where are York? They're in 17th, so that's not an easy game, but you'd still expect them to win as well. Shimanga, he gets the goal that we need. It's 1-0 here, and it's another early goal, something that we didn't get in that last game. I talked about how important that was for us, of course, in the game against Hartlepool. And we've got one here within kind of just about the opening 5 minutes. Shimanga gets it. Chester, of course, the team at home, they've struggled to keep hold of the possession. 66% in our favour right now. Nice build-up play here, though. Messino to Payne. Lovely threaded through ball. Great kind of surging run by Shimanga into the box, and he tucks it away from a little over, well, 8 yards out there. Keeper perhaps going to be a little bit disappointed to get beaten at the near post, but nevertheless, it's a fantastic little tucked away strike there by the man, the myth, the legend that is Shimanga. And, well, we really can't complain about that one little bit. Looking at the Barrow game, still 0-0 in that game. I feel like we'll be best off keeping an eye on the scores, or not the scores, but the league table to keep track of the scores. But, well, we can only really concentrate on our own games at this point. You know, that our fate is no longer in our hands. As much as I want to be gazing over at the Barrow kind of scoreline, we need to just make sure we get the result here. And, well, that is absolutely appalling kind of defending there by Chester. The mission is going very, very well here. We're 2-0 up. It's a lovely finish. Payne with the effort. Saved by Thompson. Holmes cuts inside. I think he kicked that against his own shin. But anyway, it fell to Shimanga, who manages to tuck it away. He gets his second goal of the game. Very, very good stuff by him. And we are now 2 goals up against Chester. And looking good. I feel like, again, 2 goals. It's not comfortable. When we get a third, that is when I can relax. I can breathe a sigh of relief. And, well, hopefully just kind of watch and enjoy the rest of this game while only really having to worry about the Barrow result, which, if we just look here, still remains 0-0 after 30 minutes. Nice tackle there by Kane Smith, of course. He's going to be tested quite a bit, the number 2. But, well, still an opportunity here for Chester. And Semedo, I said Chesto there, reading Semedo's name in advance. It's Chester, just to be clear. But it's Semedo with the goal. And, well, it was some nice build-up play here by them in truth. The ball pulled very intelligently by Butler, and from just behind the penalty spot, Semedo lashes that in. Perhaps the keeper could do a little bit better, but Chester, with their first shot on target of the match, narrow that goal kind of scoreline to just the 1 goal, which doesn't fill me with... I don't want to say it doesn't fill me with confidence, but it doesn't fill me with comfortableness. That doesn't make any sense as a phrase, but let's go with it here. Barrow still struggling, you know, going into half-time. We could be top of the league. I don't want to speak too soon here. But, well, we are going to go in at half-time top of the league. 45 minutes gone here. Mission so far on course to be complete with flying colours. We are 2-1 up here. You know, a few more goals in the second half would be nice. Shimanga with 2 goals, the 8.7 rating for him. Defensively, not great. But there's still time for our players to improve. Obviously, they've only had the 1 shot on target, Chester, so I feel like it's harsh to criticise our defence too much, but there's always 2 ways of looking at stats like that. You either look at it and say, you know, Chester, they've had 1 shot on target, they're not being very threatening, or you go with the attitude of they've had 1 shot on target or 2 shots on target as it is now. They've scored from 50% of their shots, whereas we've scored from, well, less than... 20% of our shots, or just over 20% actually. Holmes, now it's less than 20%, so the stat now holds true. So they've been clinical, we've not. We've hit the woodwork there. 3 clear-cut chances, 3 half chances. You wouldn't know that looking at the scoreline though. We are only 1 goal to the good here. We're not looking particularly inspiring, and this is a bit of a concern because this is exactly kind of the same feeling I got last time out. I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to bring in Danny Smith for Christy Davis. Of course, a change we made in the very first game that we were involved in. Christy Davis struggling for fitness a little bit as well. In fact, I think Christy Davis got subbed off in the most recent game. We subbed him off at half-time because he was on a booking. Lasted a little bit longer today, the young English centre-mid. But, well, 20 minutes left here. Barrow, they're still drawing, and we're on the attack here. Although, don't do this to me, Chester. They've got a chance here. Ball across. Jowers scores. And we go behind Barrow, who is still drawing 0-0. We've dropped down to second. Half touchline team talk again. Show some passion. I like to talk aggressively to my players. I'm just an angry person, it turns out. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it passionately. Passionate. Show some passion. Show me what you're made of here. 17 minutes left. Let's prove our title-winning credentials. A failure to win here you know what, I'd say if we fail to win here, we don't deserve to win the league. But Shimanga, he's come up with the goods. He's got a hat-trick when it matters. Take a bow, my son. And, well, that goal came out of nothing. A bit of a build-up play in the middle. Messino, nice intelligent ball out wide to Harry Anderson there. And on that right peg of his, he whips it in. No one picking up Shimanga. And, well, if Chester had a tap-in for their second, Shimanga had an even easier effort there to get his third goal of the game. And now, part of me is sat going, Jack, go on defensive. You should have gone on defensive last game, Jack. You didn't. It cost you. And you know what? I want to say that rational part of my brain, I'm going to listen to it. And maybe it is irrational. And because I'm listening to it, we're going to slip up here. But at the same time, I feel like this is now a game that we just look to kill off here. We're going to play on the counter. We're not going to be expressive. We're not going to look for overlaps. We're going to be a bit more direct with our passing. Let's just see out this game now. 10 minutes left. We're 1 goal to the good. And, well, Barrow, they're struggling. They're still 0-0 here with, 5 minutes left. But they got a last-minute goal last time out, so we can't count our chickens before they hatch. And, well, there's still a game to be played here. Semedo plays it through. This is very deja vu-y. Jowers scores again. The deja vu, I mean, it was deja vu. We've been there before, and now I have to go on the attack again. This is the problem that I've got, and I'm actually going to go more attacking than we play normally, because I kind of feel like we have to now. I can't believe that. If I hadn't gone defensive, maybe this wouldn't have happened. You can't live, though, off its and buts. You can't live, I guess, wondering about the what-ifs. You know, if you dawn on them, you just make more mistakes down the line. That's very philosophical, but we need to get ahead in our game. We need to focus on the task at hand here. We have 4 minutes to try and make something happen. At what point do I go on overload? It's probably too late. Overload does nothing anyway. Let's go on it. Barrow, can York score? York, can you do us a favour, please? They're not going to. It's going to finish here 3-3. I said if we fail to win here, we can't really have any qualms if we fail to win the league, and it remains true again. You know, we were unlucky perhaps today. Shimanga with a hat-trick, I really feel for him. But ultimately, going into the last game of the season, our fate isn't in our own hand. We have to just simply beat, I don't even know who we've got, whoever that last team is, and hope that Barrow slip up. But, I don't know, I feel like we've played so well for so much of this season, and in 2 easier games, you'd have to say, particularly having beaten Hartlepool, a team pushing for the playoffs, we've gone missing. We haven't stepped up to the plate. We haven't performed as you'd expect us to perform, and as a result, we find ourselves in a situation now where, you know, we could have won the league if we'd won our last 2 games, but ultimately we sit in second, relying on Barrow to slip up. Otherwise, we will just have to settle for a playoff place. If we just look at their game against York here, it was an even game, to be honest. York actually had more shots on target, and it did remain 0-0. Their win against Torquay, a 1-0 victory. Torquay had their fair share of chances as well. It was a Liam Hughes last-minute goal there that unfortunately spoiled the party. And, well, in their last game of the season, they're going to be taking on Morecambe in 16th. Worth noting... we're going to be taking on Morecambe in 16th, who are, if we just look here, just slightly behind Chester, but, well, we've learnt from that last game not to take that for granted. And Barrow, on the other hand, their final game of the season, it's going to be against Gateshead. So they are 2 massive, massive games. I assume they're going to be played at the exact same time. Indeed, they are. So hopefully I'll see you guys for that one. It's going to be a massive episode next time out. We will find out our fate in the league season. Hopefully we can avoid the playoffs. I don't want to do the playoffs. As I said, I have terrible luck in the playoffs. It's not my idea of fun. But, well, Barrow are going to be the team setting us up for a failure of winning the title or a spectacular end-of-season result. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me. Thank you for watching as always. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.